ready to take your investment game to the next level? Introducing Digital Investor, your ultimate guide to mastering the digital marketplace. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Digital Investor brings you cutting-edge game theoretical strategies, expert insights, and real-time tips and tactics to analyze, evaluate, invest, and grow your wealth. Don't miss out on the digital revolution. Visit www.nickblacknext.com and start your journey with Digital Investor today.
All right. Let's see. Okay, we got the sound down just about right. Let's see. You're hearing an echo. Well, I don't know what to tell you. If other people are hearing an echo, that's weird. Well, let me go and look at the sound stuff again. Huh. Some of you are hearing an echo. Some, but not all. All right. So let me see. 2 echoes, 3 echoes, 4, 5 echoes, 4, no echo, yes echo. Well, Dawn, that's just because you're senile. So your echo doesn't count. Let me look at the sound settings. I'm going to go settings. We could try some different ones. I could use the... Oh, here, let me unplug this. Let me see what we go. DEMZ. So that's just unplugging and plugging back in the microphone. Oh, yeah. If you have, I think you're going to have an echo if you have both on at the same time, because there's probably a little bit of delay. My guess is that going from YouTube directly versus YouTube pumped through the other one was where there would be a delay. Where in YouTube? Nick Black Live, all one word. I will write it. It would be Nick Black Live, all one word. Bam. Yeah. So that's that one. All right. Okay. Never give anyone your private keys, passwords, passphrases, login credentials. Don't click on malicious links. Don't click on any of that stuff. Let's see. Oh, Royce Gracie versus Conor McGregor in their prime. Royce doesn't know how to punch. Conor can't fight on the ground. But Royce got just about everybody down onto the ground. But then again, that was a different time. So I would say Conor McGregor in their prime. But since then, McGregor has been embarrassed by grapplers, like really embarrassed. But Royce was, when I say awful, when I say bad, I mean terrible. I mean, terrible on his feet. And I think he would just get destroyed. Yeah. But then you could say, well, Connor with no gloves, maybe breaks his hands. I don't know, man. I think Hoist would get demolished. I think Henzo and Conor McGregor is a good fight. I think most of the other Gracies could stand up a little bit. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, you know, having I've never trained with Conor McGregor, but I've trained with a lot of the Gracies, and most of them cannot stand up and fight. It is what it is. I mean, they're more well-rounded now, but they're not great on their feet. Okay. Let's see. I'm only a DI. Should we close out and move to YouTube? Well, you can do whatever you want. I mean, you're going to get that broadcast and you can have this one. You can have them both. You can have them all. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was any of the actual Gracies that were really good on their feet. Henzo was the only one that really threw hands at all. Half Gracie was kind of a little maniac, but he didn't really have any good hands. Nope. There's not a single Gracie. If it's old UFC, I don't think that helps any of those guys. Just when you saw the first, when it's kind of like going and looking at football from the 1950s, you take the worst team in the NFL right now, and you take the absolute best team in the 1950s, and the worst team in the NFL will destroy them. Maybe kill some of them, because the physicality is so much different. It's the same thing with the UFC now versus what it was even like 10 or 15 years ago. It's just a different animal. The people, these are athletes now, mostly. Every now and then a slob will get in there or some weirdo, but these are athletes. Like, can you imagine even John Jones, who I'm not the greatest fan of, but you can't dismiss how good of a fighter he was. John Jones, 15 years ago, he would have destroyed everyone in every weight class. And maybe Connor's gas tank is weak now because he's having fun and partying and stuff like that. But it wasn't when he was grinding his way up. And remember, we were talking about at their best. Hoist at his best could never throw a single punch. Connor at his best can throw all the punches. And I'm not a Connor fan either. I loved it when he got just destroyed by Diaz. Like, embarrassed, right? He'd been embarrassed a few times. But if we're being honest, best for best. Same thing with the NFL. Best for best. Take Messi and Ronaldo and Ronaldinho and go back 20 years, 25 years in soccer. Well, European, in football. No one even get close to them. They just stare at them. They're just different animals. I think sports now is on the cutting edge of like humans just exploding, because they are so strong and so fit and so capable and so well trained and have access to like information and science and medicine. It's best to leave the past in the past. Okay. Should we try subscribing to Tranche 2 or wait? Just wait for Brandon. Wait for Brandon, because he's going to get everything straight from the horse's mouth, the hypercycle horse's mouth, the hyper horse's mouth. Oh, BitConnect. Yeah. God, that guy got like 1 million years in prison, didn't he? The BitConnect guy, Carlos, is that what his name was? Yeah, those guys pulled some scams. Oh, old days of scamminess. Okay, we'll throw up markets. We'll just use markets as a backdrop. Use markets as a little backdrop, and then we will we can continue on with this fun Q&A. So here, I can take this little banner off the screen. You guys hopefully at this point know not to disclose your private keys, passphrases, click links, any of that crap ever. Any of it ever. Don't do any of it, and don't do it ever. Okay. Bitcoin having a decent day. I don't know how much of this is this tariff, this judge that found that the tariffs may be unconstitutional. It'd be interesting. I ordered a car, and it had Lamborghini put a tariff adjustment on it. They rose the base price of this car by $60,000. So if these tariffs get repealed, I'm going to have them cut the price, or I'm not going to take the car. I'm not just going to pay them extra cash for nothing. So we'll see. But as I look at the article, that's why the regular markets are essing the bed right now. Interesting. Paramount and Activision just are going to partner on a Call of Duty live action film. Weird. Okay. So Treasury yields jumped on the prospect of the U.S. having to refund about $172 billion worth of tariff-related money. Treasury yields jumped on Tuesday to begin September trading as a court decision knocking down most of the tariff administration's tariffs. The tariff administration. I guess the Trump administration tariff. The tariff administration tariffs raised the prospect of government having to repay the money already brought in, stretching an already stressed U.S. fiscal situation. The 10-year rose 5 basis points. Okay, let's get past that because you guys don't really care about the yield curve, although that's where the truth is. The yield curve is the truth. So regular markets are getting kicked in the nuts right now a little bit. I think down about 300. U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs are in focus after a federal appeals court on Friday ruled that most of his global tariffs are illegal. Yeesh. Ouch. The court determined in a 7-4 ruling that only Congress has the power to implement sweeping levies. I think what it is that I think that Trump can do it for it's kind of like the war thing. You can get away with these kinds of things for like 90 days. And then Congress has to step in. You can't use the 90-day thing to become law. And I think that's what. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think this even gets granted cert at the Supreme Court level. But anyway, he responded that the decision was highly partisan and that he's going to appeal the ruling to the Supreme Court. Okay, cool. But what does that mean right now? The core congressional power to impose taxes such as tariffs is vested exclusively in the legislative branch by the Constitution, the court said. The duties remain in place for now. However, while Trump tariffs had originally raised worries about inflation driving yields higher, the market viewed these as kind of more being one-time offsets, and this kind of idea that tariffs create everlasting inflation has started to wane. I mean, people aren't stupid forever, right? And so the idea of the revenue coming in was pretty good to a lot of people. This idea that tariffs would bring in an extra $172 billion in 2025. This is according to the Tax Foundation. Would be a nice financial boost to a country with ballooning budget deficit. Now, to put that in perspective, that's pretty good since the government just creates out of thin air about $500 million in treasury, in new issue treasury debt every single day. So kind of a break even because what, 176 is halfway, 365, 176. So just shy of half. So anyway, yeah. So if the ruling is upheld, refunds of existing tariffs are on the table, which could cause a surge in treasury issuance and yields. Yada, yada. Okay, so that's where we're at. Kind of interesting. They said a new wave of sovereign risk is washing over European economies, with the UK and France most vulnerable as they navigate fiscal fragility, political instability, poor leadership, and cratering bond market confidence. I mean, obviously, why would you invest in government debt in governments that are just crap, right? You say, well, why would I buy U.S. debt? Because there's nowhere else to go. I got nowhere else to go. That's basically the U.S. debt market. You got nowhere else to go. Here you are. Welcome aboard. On the tariff ruling, the bond vigilante, which there are no bond vigilantes. This whole idea of bond vigilantes is stupid. But anyway, whatever. The bond vigilantes might start acting up again if they can no longer look forward to significant reduction in the federal deficit attributable to tariff revenues. See, this whole idea of bond vigilantes and all this stuff, it's all just made up bullshit. There's not a cohort of people that are like, we're dumping everything. You manage your book. Your book has a whole bunch of assets, just like everybody here's crypto portfolios. Matter of fact, I'm curious, how many assets do each of you have? You don't have to say what, you don't have to say percentages. How many assets do each of you have in your portfolios? Curious to hear what you guys have to say. I can tell you on mine. I'll take a look right now. Right here. I'll take a look right here. My portfolio has, and we'll say assets over 1% or more. If it's less than 1%, it's a rounding error, okay? So let's say 1% or more. I have 1% or more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 if you count stablecoin. So I have 6 if you count stablecoin. Now I have lesser little crap, but nothing that equals a percentage point. So the only percentage point things, the next one down is like less than half a percentage point. I should get rid of that crap. Just dump it all into Ethereum. Anyway, and I can tell you, you can guess, well, you could probably guess all of mine. They're pretty easy to guess. Anyway, 6, including stable coins. And I'll tell you, I'll give you a quick look into my percentages. I don't hold Ethereum. I hold wrap stake Ethereum because you can borrow against wrap stake Ethereum, and I do over at Morpho, yada, yada. All right. I'll tell you my percentages of my top 3, and then you can tell me what they are. I'll bet you can guess them. So it's 55%, 16.5%, 16.4%. So 2 and 3 are basically dead nuts even. They're like just a difference of just a horsefly's eyeball, right? And then my number 4 is 4.8. My number 5 is 4.3. My number 6 is 1.2. That gives you an idea. So yeah, those of you that are in the 5 to 7s, that's a good. I think this is a good idea. Let's see. Compute revenue is multiplied by the number of R token. No. The R tokens don't mean anything. Not right now. None of that. No, it's the node. It's the node factories. Well, no. I mean, it's the individual nodes, right? Node factories create nodes. Nodes will earn revenue or can be sold. So it's kind of like you own a factory and you can either put the little robots you create online and make money, or you can sell those robots out of the factory. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see, 14 to 16, including my 401k. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of assets though, but I get it. 1% or more, 3. I bet I can guess your 3. Let's see. It's going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum. Now, number 3 is tricky, Tom. Number 3 is tricky. I have you for a jupe, man. Unless number 3 is your stablecoin. An XRP. Mick. Mick is taking the piss. No XRP. No XRP for me, thanks. I have more than a 6th grade education, and I don't have a tractor. Okay. No, it's wrap stake Ethereum, and then basically tied are USDC and BTC. And that's because of USDC in my options portfolio. But what's interesting is that my options portfolio has now surpassed, just by a little bit, it's surpassed my Bitcoin holdings. Jupe. Yeah, so it's wrap stake Ethereum, USDC, Bitcoin basically tied, although USDC a little bit higher. Well, especially after this week. We don't have final numbers because we're kind of all over the place. Sui, Jupiter, Hype. And then you go down. I have I have less than 0.5% of Arweave, less than 0.5% of DeBridge, less than 1/3% of Sei, which I got a long time ago before it was cool, and I would have certainly dumped it if I could had a chance, but it's just not worth shit. And that's pretty much it. I have some Pith, but it's not worth smoke. I have some Harmony One. I mean, I have some. I don't count my Hypercycle and stuff like that. I do still have some tokens actually. Kind of hoping that something would happen with them. GMRT. Every month when I get them, I dump them because that thing's that's dead fish. It's a bunch of guys that don't know what they're doing. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Everything else is like not even 0.1%. It's not even 10 basis points. I have some Sia coins still. Look at that. That's worth not even a car payment. Damn. It's pretty bad when you're looking at your portfolio and these things are not even a car payment. Ouch. Hold on, my cat's making noise. Hold on. She gets up like on the 3rd level and she stares out and she watches the cars down below and she's like, I think she's telling people where to go in traffic and stuff. I'm not sure what she's doing. Okay, last question. If I have 10 node factories, 10 times 0.20 cents or whatever the compute rev is a day would give you, yeah, but I don't know that we know what that is. But yeah, I heard that tentatively in testing, they were getting about 40 cents a day, but that's in a very narrow testing environment. So I don't know. And ideally they would roll out in proportion to demand that they're trying to develop on the other side of the fence. So hopefully that's why I think the management service will eventually be the best thing. Just let them do it, man. Don't fuck with any of that. Just let them do it. Give them your shit. Go. Make me money. Make me richer. Okay. The crypto AI kind of weak. Real AI makes money. Yeah, the crypto AI is weak. The problem is that the crypto AI stuff we're seeing right now is weak because it's not leveraging crypto the way crypto needs, the whole point of crypto. Moving around well-structured data distribution, right? Being able to distribute data really, really fast with minimal gatekeepers and middlemen and barriers and obstacles and obstructions and in a disintermediated way. And if you take those little data centers, little nodes, and they are geographically sparse and distributed, then you have something that looks a lot like, at least on the surface, a bunch of neurons might look, right? Like in a brain, like a bunch of neurons. They're all kind of acting locally. So there's value to that. I just don't think that that's been done yet with any efficacy. So yeah, we're not there yet. Hey, surprise, surprise, we're not there yet. I was trying to send some Wilfy to Coinbase from MetaMask and it failed. I don't know. Remember, I'm hoping you were doing a test transaction, and I'm hoping you got the right. Why were you sending it to Coinbase from MetaMask? Were you sending it to sell? Why don't you just swap it in MetaMask? If you were going to sell it, why don't you just swap it for stablecoin? if you can't use like you probably can use DeBridge for it, but Wilfie's not its own blockchain, right? So it's on one of the networks, Ethereum or whatever, that's on MetaMask. Therefore, I would make sure I would make sure you want to be going to Coinbase, yes, to sell it or do it. Yeah, but you don't need to sell it on Coinbase. You can just swap it into USDC right there in your wallet, or you can probably go through DeBridge. I mean, if it's an Ethereum-based asset, I don't know anything about the Wilfie token. When I originally went through all that, I was going to buy it just because whatever kind of spamminess. And then when it started doing its all weird due diligence process, and it's like, let's see your tax returns and all this, I was like, fuck you. Nope. So anyway, I backed out, and I haven't followed it since then. And I think it's mostly silly, and it's got some unit bias problems and things like that. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, you don't need to sell something to sell it. You can just swap. Just trying to get the initial investment back. Yes, but again, Rafael, you don't need to do that at Coinbase. You can do that right there in MetaMask, right? And you can do it with DeBridge. I don't know, but I would bet somebody may want to go look. I bet DeBridge. I bet you can swap out of Wilfie into USDC on DeBridge. I bet. And if you haven't tried, at least go take a look at that. And remember, with all this stuff, to little bitty tries. Don't do anything big. You don't got to go big. Little bitty efforts is all it takes. Oh. Why does that one say? Why are those prices so different? That's so weird. Anyway, yeah, my two Livecoin watches have different prices. My Livecoin watch on my phone has one price, and my Livecoin watch on my computer has another price. Those prices are not the same. I don't know. Yeah. So here, just watching the stuff. Okay. Yeah. Remember, when you guys are going to do a swap, go set up the swap in a few different ways, but don't do the swap. Go set it up on DeBridge and look at the price. Go set up a regular MetaMask swap right through MetaMask. You can just swap. You go into the wallet and click swap. Set it up, but don't do the transaction. Set it up. Reduce the slippage to 1%, and just look at, okay, how much USDC do I get for this token? Okay, now go look at that transaction on DeBridge. How much USDC do I get for this token? Okay, and then go over Coinbase and then factor in your fees. How much USDC do I get for this? And so that's the way I would be doing all these things. I don't even look at Coinbase anymore because I know that a swap through DeBridge is going to just mostly be the best. But I still look at it in MetaMask and see what MetaMask would be offering for that swap, like what they would take. And usually it's quite a bit different. DeBridge is way better, but usually, 50 to 100 to a couple $100 a pop, like every time. Yeah. All right. What else is going on? It was funny over the weekend. Prices went up, then they sold off on Sunday. Then they went back up on Monday. Then they sold off about 2 hours before the market opened here. Although at least Bitcoin's having a better day, above 110, which is good. Ethereum, oddly, it's oddly quiet. It's, one might say, eerily quiet. And considering the inflows and considering, I think what is very funny, it seems like on the weekends, it's every time we have the weekends, Ethereum is up. Ethereum is doing great. And about an hour before U.S. markets open, sometimes 2 hours, it just tanks. And you're like, is this accidental? Like, what is this? You're like, well, what would be the point of this? What would you get out of this? I don't know. I don't know what the intention is to nuke people that are just waking up in the morning and taking on stupid leverage. Like, I don't really know. It just seems weird. It just seems it seems so consistent where it sells off right before the market opens that I think that it's a technical thing. I think there's some technical function to it. I don't think it's humans in the way we think. I don't think it's a manipulation function. I think it's a technical function. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. Anyway, any thoughts on gold's all-time high today and silver over 40 as far as what's that signaling, if anything? I don't think it's signaling anything. Remember, this is a day where the whole tariff thing is under the gun and everybody's like, ah. And anytime there's panic, like near-term panic, gold does well in panic times, right? It doesn't do well over time. It doesn't do well over inflation, against inflation. Silver being more industrial, I don't know. I think silver, I don't know, silver probably should have been $120 an ounce by now. Remember, it was just about $50 an ounce 15 years ago. So it's down 20% from its all-time highs from 15 years ago. I mean, let's discounting the Hunt brothers and all that kind of stuff. So none of the metals have not performed. Over time, you've just lost a lot of money in metals. It's unfortunate. I have a shit ton of silver, of cool coins. I think I have a 500 ounce coin. I have to go look. It's big. It's this big, like dragon freaking thing. It's awesome. It's freaking heavy. It's heavy. Is it 500 ounce? Is it 100 ounce or 500? I have to go look. Anyway, it's big. And it's cool, but it's not worth shit. I mean, a couple $1,000 or something, but like, who cares? It's just silver, even being the industrial kind of metal that it is, and the demand and the fact that it's a more diminishing supply because silver doesn't get, recirculated in the same way that gold does. People, metals just have not performed. They're not great to use. The depository situations is very suspect. Like, a lot of those depositories are pulling shenanigans, and the metal that you think is there ain't there. And so just that kind of behavior, and because people are sketchy. So I don't know. Your miners, your gold and silver miners are up, but gold and silver are not up 467. And miners can throttle up and throttle back production. So obviously where you need to be is in the miners, right? Holding the metal itself is not doing you any good. And, but if you go back to, 2009 and look at gold miners and go forward against Bitcoin until now, I think your year to date, looking at a small data set of less than 9 months versus almost 16 years, I assure you that your miners have been outperformed by Bitcoin. So again, I would widen your data set. And listen, take yield wherever you can get it. But my bet is, if you move into the future, even from now, you can cherry pick any moment in history you'd like. How about that? I'll let you cherry pick any moment for your miners, as long as Bitcoin was around. Cherry pick the best, most favorable moment for you, for your miners. And if we extrapolate that and we keep going into the future, I'll bet in the next 5 years, it's destroyed by Bitcoin. Just humiliated. So you have to be careful that you're not. One thing I feel like when we chat Bitcoin is that you use very small data sets to make big extrapolations. I just think that's dangerous. Just saying. Get as much data as possible and then realize, like, in crypto terms, you don't really have a lot of data. You have 15 years, of which the first 7 of it was nascent and mostly illiquid on random ass exchanges and stuff like that. So you don't really even have good data. So you have like maybe 7 years of 7 to 7.5 years of good crypto data. And guess what? That's not enough. That's not enough data. You can't really draw very many conclusions from that. And the fact that the miners are recently having a resurgence, that's great. But again, I would not draw grand conclusions from that. Gold will, as it has for the last 100 years, it will underperform tech. It will not pace inflation because it can't, because that's not how gold works. And Maybe the miners are the only way you make that money. All right. So there you go. Woo woo. Yeah, just be careful that you don't come up with the wrong conclusions because the data is not sufficient. I know you like your technical analysis and all that kind of stuff, but it's eerily flawed. Okay, looks like markets are giving back a little bit. Let's see what the Bitcoin is up. Yeah, so it had a good initial bump, and then it's kind of settling. Ethereum looks to be settling a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, it had that bump with Bitcoin and looks like it's settling a little bit faster. And this is about where we were Friday. We're just about exactly where we were. Well, maybe we're a little bit lower than Friday. But hey, our best friend, time decay, is on our side. Yeah. So that's about it. I don't know what news. There's not. When you look at the crypto news, there's not any. Let's see. Strategy pushes Bitcoin stash over 69 billion. Raises STRC dividend they can't pay to 10% amid criticism. Strategies expanded Bitcoin holdings, bolster its market dominance, but spark debate over funding methods. Strategy, the business intelligence there's nothing intelligent going on over there at Strategy. Reinforce its Bitcoin position with another large purchase. In a September 2nd filing with the SEC, the company reported acquiring 4,048 Bitcoin for $449.3 million, paying an average of 110. Let's call almost 111. 110,981 per coin. The move lifts Strategy's total Bitcoin balance to 636,505 Bitcoin, obtained at a combined cost of $46.95 billion, or roughly $73,765 per coin. At current market prices, the stash is valued at about $69.25 billion. Let's see. BTC priced in gold. Gold is up on BTC. Your math is very suspect, Bitcoin. What last cycle all-time? So you're taking the all-time highs or the lows? Are you taking gold's high versus gold's high? Because they didn't both hit highs. I think you're cherry picking data. I think that if you I don't think you're being intellectually honest with yourself, Bitcoin. Gold and Bitcoin didn't have highs at the same time. So you can't cherry pick one's high and one's low and run them against each other. I think maybe your data is intellectually inaccurate. Okay. You're taking the high. Okay, then take gold's high over the last 4 years. Oh, wait, you can't because that's today. So by your math, gold has done nothing, and Bitcoin has gone up 36% by your math that you just stated just now. Unless you want to use some other math, we can change it up. We can do this all day, buddy. Intellectually poor arguments are my wheelhouse. Okay. In a September 2nd filing, they said that they now have 69.24 billion, that's a lot. According to Bitcoin Treasury's data, the firm's holdings now represent just over 3% of Bitcoin's maximum supply, giving Strategy one of the largest corporate positions in the asset. Following the purchase, Strategy announced that it had adjusted the dividend rate on its STRC. This is where things get sketchy. STRC preferred stock, raising the annual payout from 9% to 10%. The security, launched in July, is non-convertible and designed to deliver variable rate income. Reduced leverage. The latest deal was financed through a mix of common and preferred stock offerings. According to the filing, Strategy sold 1.24 million shares of its Class A common stock for $425.3 million. The company raised the $46.5 million balance through its preferred share program, including STRK, STRF, STRD. At a certain point, is anybody else worn out at all of the bullshit products that MicroStrategy is creating out of thin air to sell you $1 worth of Bitcoin for $2. Is anybody else just worn out? They have STRF, STRC, STRK, STRD, MSTR. Like, get off the gas. The imbalance drew criticism from short seller James Chanos, who's publicly bet against the firm. Chanos argued that the heavy reliance on common stocks suggests investors remain wary of the preferred offerings, which are structured for income seekers and high-risk participants. He wrote, this is James Chanos. MicroStrategy continued to reduce its leverage in the past week. 90% of its securities sold was from common equity at the money. Well, then, Bitcoin, then maybe change your name to Gold Radio and sell your Bitcoin, because what you're saying is you don't want to be in Bitcoin. So get out, sell it, sell your Bitcoin, buy gold, and we can have the same conversation this time next year, and we'll see how that worked out for you. My guess is not well, but by all means, if you think gold is going to outperform Bitcoin, then you definitely should be buying it. And of course, it's diminishing returns, Captain Obvious. It started at a fucking penny. Like, again, we'll discontinue this discourse for now, but you're making intellectually weak and flawed arguments, and you're trying to back them up with more. These are not observations. They're flawed assertions. Your observations are weak. You're not weak. I like that these kind of things back and forth are fun, but your observations are weak because they're on weak foundations. So, yeah. And gold on the blockchain makes zero fucking sense. I mean, like, absolutely none. Like, let's not go down that path. Okay. Despite Chanos, the whole point of hard money that you can put your hands on is that it's hard money that you can put your hands on. Okay. Despite Chanos's claims, Strategy has already raised $5.6 billion in 2025 through the initial public offerings of these securities. Notably, the IPOs account for 12% of all U.S. initial public offerings this year. So MicroStrategy, MicroSailor, is accountable for more than 10% of all IPOs with all of his spammy offerings. Hi, cutie. Do you want to invest in Strategy? No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't want to invest. She just walked. She's like, I'm not buying that crap. Considering this, Strategy supporters continue to argue that there's a significant demand for these assets in the market. I don't know, man. But I do think Strategy has become too big to fail. I think they would be bailed out by everybody would come in and bail them out if he got in trouble. So, and as long as governments keep printing money, and that's not going to stop anytime soon, then Strategy probably gets to keep running this scam. Strategy is the biggest current Ponzi scheme in period. Not in crypto. I mean, it's the biggest Ponzi scheme. Strategy is a Ponzi scheme, and it's working if governments keep printing. And I think governments will keep printing forever. And so I guess they're going to get away with it, is all I can figure. Yeah. Now, will people that own Strategy eventually wake up to the fact that they're paying $2 for $1 worth of Bitcoin? You would hope, but I'm not so sure. I'm not sure. Oh, let's see. How is too big to fail? Yeah, I know it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it works like this. Strategy has so much Bitcoin, and Michael Saylor knows this because he's a professional tax crook. Indicted. He's two different kinds of crook. They were indicted but settled for fraud many years ago. MicroStrategy, look it up. And he was indicted for tax fraud and settled just like last year or the year before, and then was settled either last year or the beginning of this year. Maybe it was the beginning of this year it was settled. Anyway, Micro Saylor. Saylor's a crook. Again, he's not a thief. He's a crook. Kind of like the way Justin Sun is a crook. So kind of like a Robin Hood type, well-intentioned, crooked motherfucker. So the way he's too big to fail is that with almost 70 billion in assets, no one wants to see $70 billion worth of Bitcoin hit the market, hit the bid. So, or the ask. So, well, they would come in and they would protect him. And they won't have to protect him if governments keep printing money. And guess what? Governments keep printing money, currency units out into existence, out of thin air, all the time. So I don't think that will ever stop. You'd hope that would stop at some point. You'd hope that there would be some kind of restraint, some kind of accountability, but I don't think that's a thing that we do anymore. So and this is why taxes are so stupid. Like at this point, I mean, I get that in a well-functioning system, taxes would be valid, but at this point, why do any of us pay tax when with the amounts of debt that's being printed up and lent into existence all the time? Why do any of us pay tax? Really? I mean, it seems pretty stupid and pretty pointless that we're all fumbling around like assholes every April, and they're just the bing, 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 $500 million a day, $500 million a day, $500 million a day, $500 million a day, $500 million a day. That's the one thing that the MMT idiots, that's the one thing that they did get right, is that what's the point of ever paying taxes? They'll just print it into obscurity, any money that would have been raised. I think we are brainwashed. Would not a staking ETF treasury be superior to MSTR as far as real asset earnings? A staking ETH ETF or treasury? What do you mean by treasury? Like a staking be superior? Well, oh. You're saying like just like if you compared like simply getting paid staking revenue versus not. Yeah, Saylor's running a Ponzi scheme. Those other guys, I mean, Bitminer and what the gaming company, STRK, whatever it is, these Ethereum treasuries, it's still kind of a Ponzi scheme because you're still paying more for those assets. You're paying more for those assets than you're getting, right? Way above MNAV. So you're paying $1.50 or $2 for $1 worth of Ethereum. And they can argue, well, we're going to give you staking rewards and all this. Okay, 3%. I don't know, man. 3%? Does that sound like? I mean, that probably barely beats the fees, the ETF fees, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think they're demonstrably that much different. I think that people just are very lazy and they buy these assets and they don't do any math. Like if you believe enough in the asset, do you believe more in Michael Saylor's cleverness and his inability to apparently go to jail versus Bitcoin's continued movement or Ethereum's continued movement and Tom Lee and these guys? I just think that having humans meddling in the middle doesn't make something more valuable, especially when you're getting half. You're paying for a gallon of milk and you're getting a half gallon. I don't know why that's not beyond. And they'll tell you, well, because you're getting all the leverage of us buying into the future. I can buy into the future. The fuck do I need your leverage for? Well, we're going to raise money from a bunch of fools. You're going to raise money from a bunch of intellectually weak fools. Yeah, no, I like the idea of staking income, but I don't know why that makes a treasury valuable. That just means that the treasury is gambling. I don't know. I like the idea of the treasury function for security being something like this: 3 to 5% Bitcoin on the balance sheet, 2 to 3% Ethereum on the balance sheet, just as a hedge, just to grow with the digital economy. When your entire company, all it does is buy that asset, there has to be some kind of exit at some point. It's either going to be a slow exit, it's going to be a lending exit, it's going to be a leverage exit, but the staking rewards aren't enough to run a company. Like, they're just not, and not sustainably. And there's certainly with Bitcoin, there's no staking rewards. This Bitcoin yield, which is this bullshit thing that Saylor came up with, that's not a real thing. So a Solana treasury, okay, you got a Solana treasury and it pays 10% staking income. Let's say it's 10%. I don't think it is, but let's say it's 10. Okay, where does the 10 come from? Oh, just new coin issuance. Okay, well, shit. If it's just new coin issuance, then I'm collecting the same amount of the debasement. So I should be breaking even. And what am I hoping? That people lose the token? Like, that's my only real disinflationary pressure is lost tokens that are lost or burnt. I don't know, man. So then then what? A company that goes all in Solana? What kind of fucking idiots do you think are at the head of that company that would do something like that? Did you know that the Solana developers, their own personal holdings are not 100% Solana? They don't even believe in their own shit. They sell it as fast as they can get it. The Chainlink devs were the funniest. We used to watch, there was a real-time thing that showed Chainlink. When the developers got their token unlocks, it immediately went to exchanges and all of it was sold. All of it. The people that work at Chainlink own no Chainlink. They sell fucking all of it. That's how worthless the shit is. The people at Solana sell everything they've got all the time. You know, based on lockups and things like that, and probably listening to lawyers at this point. So, yeah. I think MicroStrategy is dead end. I mean, I think all these treasuries, they got to do something else. Now, maybe the end goal of all these treasury companies is to become banks in a sense, like a Bitcoin-based bank or a Ethereum-based bank or something like that. And I guess that's no different than the other banks that we have that are based on mostly bullshit and nothing else. So I guess I'm not saying that can't work. But I don't know what their end is. Just keep buying Ethereum. Okay. And then what? It'll go up. Okay. And then what? Well, just keep buying it. I know, but how do you make money? Because people buy our stock. Why? Like, why? Why will they keep buying your stock? What about when Bitminer reaches their 5% of Ethereum? Then what? Well, we have it. Okay. Then what? It's ours. Yeah, cool. What's planned? Motherfucker, how do you make money? Our 3% staking rewards. That's not enough to run a company. Well, so they'll either get into lending or some kind of weird leverage or something. There must be some other idea. There must be some big pivot. Because most of these treasury companies, it's just if you have a bad company, you become a crypto treasury company. That's cool for like 13 minutes. But then someone would look and go, what's next? So yeah, for the Ethereum guys, you could go DeFi. Well, you could to an extent for Bitcoin too. You could have a big lending thing or something. I don't know. You would wonder what's the next move for these treasury companies, because just being a treasury I think it's a dead end. I think you said that correctly. I think they're all dead ends. I like that they're doing it. It's cool. Puts a buy-side bias in the market. But there's no real value to that. Okay, they buy Bitcoin. Great. Okay, they buy Ethereum. Also great for us as owners. But in the future, what does that mean? They have it. Cool. And they have a lot of it. Yeah, I know, man. Shit. It's no different than basically burning the token, getting it stuck in these companies. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know where else I don't know where these companies pivot to, but it must be lending or banking, right? something like that. Yeah. So anyway, I guess that's what frustrates me about these treasury companies and the fact that people keep giving them money. I had to explain to someone yesterday. I went to this little barbecue. My hedge fund buddy was there. He and I see eye to eye on this thing. And this guy's there like, yeah, MicroStrategy, they keep buying the Bitcoin. I'm like, buddy, you can keep buying the Bitcoin. You too can buy Bitcoin. You don't need MicroStrategy to own Bitcoin. You don't even need Bitcoin to own Bitcoin. You can buy it in your 401k. You can buy IBIT right now, the ETF, and then you can later in-kind swap it back to Bitcoin. It's very easy. Grandma can do it now. So why the fuck do you need Michael Saylor to do it for you? It's the same thing as these gold companies online where you pay this like 40% premium on gold, hold it in our vaults, and we'll, all this bullshit. Those companies are a scam. It's the same shit. It's basically the same scam. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that Michael Saylor took a cold, hard look at how these companies get away with charging a 30 to 40% premium on gold coins, and that you never even see. We'll hold them for you. Yeah, I bet you will. And it's always these old, creepy, white, like, troll-looking dudes that you wouldn't, they look like skeletons. Like, you wouldn't trust them. And if you saw them at night, you'd be scared to death. Anyway, all that stuff is a racket. Like, here, well, we're gonna hold your stuff for you. We're on deposit. Bullshit. They don't have half of your stuff. Your stuff is gone. They just know that if there was any real run on the bank, the depository, they'd be over with. And they can always claim security reasons. I guess you'll never know what's back there. They're like, well, you can't see what's behind my back. I'm like, well, I know what's not behind your back. It's not all my fucking gold, is it? That stuff's gone. Oh, no, it's there. I don't see it. No, it's there. Show me. I can't show you. But I know it, but it's there. Okay. Until what? Lawyers and federal agents storm your depository, wherever the fuck that is, by the way, because they're usually not in the United States. Oh, we spread it out. Where's all the gold? No, we keep it secret. Okay, you don't have it, and you guys all have yachts. Got it. So it's the same shit. At least with Bitcoin, you know where it's at, right? You know what? You know where it's at until it moves, and then you know where it's at. You can't get it, but you know where it's at. All right. Once again, never give anyone your private keys, your passwords, your passphrases, your login credentials. Don't let anyone mirror your account. Don't ever do a screen share. Don't ever do a takeover where they're allowed to do. Don't let them beehive you. Everybody wants to steal all of your shit all of the time. You got to download this. Do not click any links, no text messages, no emails, none of that. If you think something's happening at Coinbase, go and log into Coinbase on a different device. Don't click a link. I get these all the time. I get 10 a day. Oh, we see that you're logging in from Europe. Click here if that was not you. Fuck you, Matt. That's what I actually text. Fuck you. And then I delete and report as junk. Everybody wants to steal your stuff. Probably even people you know. So be very careful. No links, no emails, no nothing. If you're curious about something going on, go to a different device, log in, and look at your account. And I would bet you nothing's going on in your account. Okay? Just a bunch of bullcrap going around. Don't go for airdrops. Don't go for any of that crap. Just don't do all this work, right? And make your money. Whether it's, whatever way you made your money. I don't care, by the way, how you make your money. I just want everybody to make money because it feels good. It feels good when you have extra currency units. You can eat whatever the hell you want. You can buy cars. That's great. Whatever makes you happy in life. I want you to get that. But don't get it and then give it back to some douchebag 19-year-old fucking crook. Which, by the way, these dudes always get caught, and sometimes it's caught by the police, and most of the time it's caught. They'll scam a criminal, or they'll scam a cartel guy, and they'll end up cut up into pieces in a suitcase. So these dudes, they typically don't have a great life for that long. Like this Hayden Davis guy, he's pulling all these scams. That guy's going to end up chopped up into pieces in a suitcase, 20 miles out of Tijuana or something like that. That's where this guy ends up. So you're like, oh man, this guy's pulling these scams, making all this money. It's no good if you can't spend it. So don't give these guys your shit. Don't give these guys access to your stuff. Cool. All right. We will see you tomorrow. So stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor insolvent drunk, strung on meth grandmother or Brandon wouldn't do. I don't know what the weather's going to be like there, but it's going to be effing hot here. So yeah, got to get my swim in early. Get the cats out early. This is